So before being a health coach, I was a lawyer for 4 years. So I did the whole thing. I got my law degree, I passed the bar exam, I even voluntarily put myself through 2 law master's degrees. And for those of you wondering, I did both an international law master's degree and an entertainment law master's degree at UCLA in Los Angeles, so on the movie and music industry, which was super fun. I did internships, all of that, and then I got a job as a corporate counsel in a big organization that all of you listening to this training probably know. So, in case you couldn't tell, I am a super ambitious person. I was super ambitious back then when it came to my legal career, and I'm also super ambitious now as a coach. I want to be the very best coach that I can possibly be. That ambition didn't go anywhere. So I'm a very ambitious person, and something to know about me is that I'm also a naturally pretty anxious person. If I'm not careful, if I don't take good care of myself, if I don't practice mindfulness on a daily basis, if I don't do all the things that I'm going to teach you, I can get anxious pretty easily. And anxiety came into my life when I started law school. That was back in 2012. I had no idea how to take care of myself back then. I was living alone for the first time. I was studying abroad, so away from family, away from friends. And things got really, really bad. Because of all of the stress that I was under, I developed an eating disorder that lasted 3 years. I isolated myself. My hair was falling out. You remember earlier when I was talking about losing yourself when you're in a state of chronic stress or chronic anxiety? Well, that was me. I lost myself completely. I felt old. I lost my joy for life, my excitement. I felt like I was so boring. I didn't feel like laughing anymore, like having a good time. I spent most of my time ruminating on my thoughts, worrying about the future, making crazy plans for 10 years into the future. At some point, I had a Word document which outlined my life for the next 10 years. It was bad. And then here's what happened. After my 3-year law degree, it was the time for me to pass the bar exam. So for those of you who might not know this, the bar exam is the exam that you must pass in order to become a lawyer. So you put yourself through a whole law degree only to pass that one exam at the very end that determines the rest of your career and the rest of your life. If you fail that exam, you can't be a lawyer, and it was all for nothing. Or at least that's the mindset that you have when you're in that situation. So the stakes were high, right? And here's what happened. A few months before the bar exam, I was studying one day, hunched over my textbook, and I noticed 3 or 4 eyelashes on the textbook. Not only was I losing my hair, battling with an eating disorder, completely isolating myself, driving myself crazy, not only that, but now I was losing my eyelashes too. And I thought, that's enough. That really scared me. It was a sign that I had to change something, and I had to change something fast. I realized that there was no way I was going to be able to pass the bar exam if I kept going like this. I felt close to burnout. I felt close to giving up completely. After years of hard work, of studying so hard, I was almost ready to throw it all out the window because it was all just too much. So if I wanted to make it to the finish line, something needed to change. And that's when my journey into mindfulness started. I started going to my local yoga studio religiously, 3 to 4 times a week, no exception. I started meditation. I learned all about proper nutrition and made sure to eat nutritious foods that would fuel me. My favorite part of every week was going to the fruit and veggie market on Sundays. But most of all, the most important thing that I did is that I started looking at my thoughts. I started looking at the things that I told myself, the fears that I was operating under, the destructive patterns that I engaged in. I started noticing that I often made up crazy stories in my mind based on the worst possible case scenario, and that I was driving myself crazy because of the things that I had invented in my mind. I started being so aware of how I thought and how those thoughts impacted my actions and my experience of the world. And I started to question my thoughts. I started to realize that not every single thought that I had was true, and that I could choose not to act on every thought I had. I had discovered mindfulness, which then became the founding pillar of my coaching program, the Balanced Achiever Method. Instead of immediately acting on the thoughts that I had, I became better and better at observing my thoughts and creating a gap where I was able to observe the thoughts, understand where it was from, question it, and then respond to it from an empowered, conscious place. Once I started doing that, everything changed. While most of my friends have a terrible memory of passing the bar exam, for me it became a great experience. I was taking care of myself, working on myself. And yes, I was studying like crazy day and night, but I was able to do it from a calm, grounded place. Those are skills that I later on took into my career as a lawyer, and that really taught me that it is possible to both work hard and protect and enhance your well-being. It is possible to have a high-pressure job and to keep your stress and anxiety down. It is possible to be ambitious without needing to sacrifice your health in the process. And keep in mind, like I said, I'm naturally a very anxious person. Anxiety comes very easily to me. So if I can do it, you can 100% do it.